Hey, how you doing today?
Emmanuel, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Man, I cannot complain, man. Another day, another two pennies rubbed together.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, sorry about that little delay. I had sent it from Zoom and I mean from my phone and from the computer.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
but yeah, no worries about that. But man, yeah, let's hop right into it, man. So
Okay.
why'd you get into real estate?
Well, I grew up around real estate. I remember being young, super young, going into abandoned houses, and my grandparents really brought the family up around it. And they're just something that we've been doing ever since. And we recently found out that it's been going on in our family for many, many, many more generations than what we thought it was. Our great grandparents were buying land off auctions and tax sales.
Oh,
So it
that's a
just, I
yeah.
guess it's just in our genetics in a strange way.
Yeah, that's a whole legacy thing. So is this remind me again what state you grew up in?
I grew up in Indiana, Gary, Indiana.
So they were in Indiana, your grandparents doing the same thing.
My grandparents were in Indiana doing the same thing, and they're originally from Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yep. So I do all of my properties are in Indiana
Uh-huh.
just because of the growth that's there. Eventually, I do want to branch off to come to Atlanta, but I was thinking, why go somewhere where the sharks are versus being one of the sharks?
I see that. I definitely see that. Um, in a place like Indiana, is it like what city?
Gary, Indiana.
Gary? It's in
Yeah,
Gary.
Michael Jackson. We're the same place Michael Jackson was born.
Oh, smooth. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Smooth history. Um, so why'd you get into real estate? So since you brought that up, how much of real estate were your grandparents involved in?
I would say they bought. They have renovated over my lifetime. I'm 28 between 75 and 100 homes.
Yeah,
So
wow. It's a
they
big number.
sold some, they rented out some, they gave some away, but around that 75 to 100 mark.
75 to 100. That's a lot. I mean, that's extensive. That's impressive. That they've done that much, work.
Oh yeah, they took a street that was full of abandos and they over time bought that street both sides. Like I remember walking, they getting the house work done to the house. I remember walking to and from houses, just looking inside, like in zigzags.
Hmm. So your grandparents. So are you working with them currently on like the projects you do, or are you doing your
I am
own
now.
thing?
I'm there. I have them for help, and I have them if I need some advice. But I'm doing it on my own now. I'm starting out. I've been wholesaling properties since 2016, and I just got in a position where I'm like, okay, I need to start fixing and flipping.
Smooth. That's smooth. So you've been doing wholesaling 2016. Tell me about that. What's been your experience in, doing the wholesaling?
Pretty much wholesaling. I might buy a home for 3,000. It takes a year for it to get into my name. Another couple months for me to get the deed, and usually I have a house that I bought for 3,000 sold for about 15 or 20,000 in about a month or two.
Yeah, that's
I
very
can
lucrative.
take that money, put it back into the pot, and keep it going.
Yeah, that's very lucrative. So now you're doing fix and flips, right?
Yes, I'm starting on my first one.
Okay, so what do you where do you want to take that? And then I'll also say that since this is a I guess this is me interviewing you. So the people who are watching, they'll be able to say, hey, oh, you know what? Go ahead, shout out your Instagram.
Okay, my Instagram, future rich underscore man man. You can just give me a follow, future rich underscore man man. Everything's
Okay.
spelled just like it sounds.
And so if people want to reach out to you, they want to do business with you, that's how they should reach out to you.
Yes, yes, and I actually have a program where people can invest in my company, CSL Properties LLC. The
Yeah.
CSL stands for Community Smart Living, and they could potentially buy a house for about 3,000. I'll help them with the process, teach them the process, and then at the end of the year and a half, the redemption period, we sell the property and they make money off of that. And I set it up like a university so that after 2 years, you don't have to ever put your money back into it. The business should fund itself and grow itself.
Okay, cool.
So
That's
that'll
that's
be good.
actually really cool.
Yeah,
Huh?
it'll be good for people that have money sitting in a bank account that want to get in real estate but don't really want to take the risk. Because the only risk with this is if the house catches on fire, but I've never seen that happen. But yeah, this will be a great thing for people that want to learn about real estate to get into, put a little bit of money into, make a good amount of money out, and then just watch it grow and grow their knowledge while their money grows.
That's smooth. So smooth. You set it up like a university.
I set up like a university, yep, because what I'll do is it takes about 2 years for your money to get in full rotation. And after that second year, the first round of houses, I'll say, okay, hey, we sold your houses, we sold your homes. This is your profit. I'll give them their initial. So if they spend, say, 3,000 on the house, if we sell the house for 20,000, I'll take that 3,000. Say, hey, put this back in your account. You got 17,000 left. Now with the 17,000, you could you could take the whole thing. You could put it all back in. But what I would suggest is you split that 17 in half. Half of it go to your savings. You live. The other half put it back into the business. So now instead of you getting one house, you might get three. You might get four houses, and we do this again and we repeat it. And the next thing you know, I'm talking to you and I'm saying, hey man, let's just go and get this apartment complex. Let's get a multi-unit. And we just keep growing over the years.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's definitely a good pathway for people. And is this something you created yourself?
Yes. Yes. I think about a lot of stuff when I sleep. I'll wake up with new ideas and I'll just thinking this the way I do things, the way I get properties, a lot of people don't know it exists. And it sounds unrealistic.
Hmm.
So why not spread this knowledge? Help other people see it, help other people make money. Because it's a lot of people that they have 2,500, 30,000 to buy a property. They just don't know how to.
Hmm.
And then, two, it's not just about the money with me, it's about bringing my city back, Gary, Indiana. The more people in my university, the more houses we buy, and the more the revenue we bring back into the city. Because as we were fixing these properties up, people are moving back. And we're
Mm,
helping speed up the process of the just the city coming back.
that's smooth. Yeah, that's what was that like philanthropic, like a higher calling.
Oh yeah, yes.
So take me through the process, with this fix and flip that you have, project you have going on right now.
Okay. So pretty much the process with this is um you want it from the start or just from the point when the house gets into my name?
Just like this, yeah, from the start, that's fine.
Okay, so first I'll go to a sale auction. Every county does one. I'll purchase a couple properties. It takes about a year for that property to get into. It takes a year redemption period for you to actually own the property. Because I put tax liens on homes. So say somebody went and they don't pay their taxes. I go and at these auctions, I'll pay the taxes in 1 year if the owner doesn't pay me back, which a lot of times they don't because a lot of houses are abandoned. The house becomes mine. We have to go to court, get a petition for the deed. So it's about a year and 4 months. While when it's all said and done, you have the properties in your name. From there, I got a few quotes from contractors. I kind of try to feel the contractors out for who they are as a person, do whatever I can to verify who they are, to verify their work, and we come up with a contract makes sense for the both of us. Put a deposit down, pay another amount in the middle, and then give them the rest at the end when they complete the work.
Okay. Okay. Um, so I think this is a good time to just like say, why am I doing these interviews?
Mhm,
Just for you, for people who are watching. So the reason I'm creating these interviews is because I am looking for people to collaborate with
mhm,
in this real estate space. And so as you having a university,
mhm.
um, a lot of times people want to work with people, but they don't necessarily, like you say, with these contractors, you don't have a way to feel people out or like, hey, here's 10,000, let's go flip a house. It's like, well, I really don't know you,
Right.
perhaps. So why would I invest $10,000 of hard-earned money with you
Mhm.
and you might disappear tomorrow?
And I've had that happen to me before. I had it happen that a contractor, I paid him. He showed me he could do the work. He did a lot of work,
Mhm.
and he wiggled his way to get the rest of the money out of me. And once I paid him, stopped hearing from him. He stopped being professional, and he tries to just lead me on, thinking that he's going to do the work, and he just tiptoeing and doing it. And hey, I mean, I just found out this guy was going through doing this to multiple people. So yeah, you do have to be very careful who you work with. And I mean, it's unfortunate that people aren't trustworthy anymore, but hey, that's the world that we live in now, unfortunately. But we have to use our best judgment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I kind of got to that point too, because I'm gonna explain a little bit about myself once I say this piece, which is that um there needs to be a network. Like there's people who are like, hey, and I've had this same I've that experience you've had, I've had that same thing here in Atlanta, but there's no network per se that I know of where they're like, hey, this contractor, so and so um, they I gave them all the money and they only did half the work. Don't work with them. It's really just me hiring contractors on my own, and there's no like, not saying someone has to be like a partner per se, but someone just like in the business community who's like, oh yeah, I've worked with that guy before, or oh yeah, actually use this guy. He's
Right.
really good. He's got his licenses. He's straight up and down. So that's why I was like, you know what? Situations like that, how do I blackball this contractor, right? Like,
I'm, I'll let you know as soon as I find out. I know in my case, I am in a community like that for Indiana, and I talked to my realtor today, and he pretty much he blasted him out on his platform. I've spoke with the city about it, so the
mhm.
city responded to me today. But as soon as I find out completely how to blackball somebody efficiently, I'll definitely spread that knowledge because you can't get away with doing people like this.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And so that's why I wanted to that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create this platform of interviews, of interviewing, you're an investor interviewing other investors, so we can say, hey, you've interviewed Demetrius, I also live in Gary, Indiana. Like let's meet up, like let's do some deals, or like let's get to know each other better, so that way we can collaborate and do different projects together. Because um for me, I've been looking for more investors to invest with so I can do bigger projects, bigger and bigger projects, just like what you're saying. And
Mm,
so I've run into this where people are like, well, they don't trust, right? Because they've been burned before. Contractors have stolen money. um Even other investors have stolen money.
yeah.
So it's like, how do people get a chance to see you as who you are without their baggage? And it's
Mhm.
like, well, a great the idea I came up with was do interviews, interview other investors, and then in the interview process, you and me, we could do some deals together if we choose to. Other investors, I could choose to do deals with them if they choose to. But at the same time, you still get a chance to come on the platform, talk about, what you got going on, what your
Mhm.
projects are, where you plan on going, how people can get involved, how you can help people, how I can help you, and then you can take this recording, which I'm going to share with you after we finish, and you can put this on your social media. You can put this on your email list, or you could just put it on your YouTube and be like, yeah, I just did an interview, check it out, these are some clips of, what exactly do I do, because a lot of times people, like you said, they're investors, they have money in an account, but they don't know anything about real estate, but they know
Right.
they want to get in real estate
Hmm.
without, but they don't necessarily know, you know, the niches, right? Like
Right.
tax liens, like that's
Hmm.
a niche, or fix and flip a niche, wholesale, apartment complex, like these different niches.
Right. Right.
They need you to come through and educate them on, oh, like, okay, so if I give you this money, it's going to be 2 years. So, okay, like this is what he's done with it. Now they get to see your personality and your experience.
Yep. Yep. And at the same time, they get to learn from the ground up, from the base level all the way up. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm big on teaching people about that because I'm in the same position. I I've done some fix and flips. I renovated an apartment complex, 4 units,
Hmm.
and I just sold that last year for $500,000. So where I'm at currently is I'm raising more money to go buy bigger apartment complexes.
Right.
The goal is to own at least 50 units before the end of this year,
Okay.
and then 150 units before May 7th of next year.
Hmm.
And so very similar to what you're doing, I'm educating people. The way I go about educating people is through seminars.
Hmm.
Just like I reached out to you on Instagram about the seminar.
Yeah.
That's a once a month event. I'm gonna be teaching people, how to buy apartment complexes, structure seller financing, raise capital. And I'm also just teaching people about the mindset of like, yes, you can do it. You can own these properties. You can be a landlord. You can be an investor. You don't necessarily have to invest actively like you and I invest actively. We're actually hiring the contractors and, you know, doing pulling permits and getting the plumbing put in and getting all the floors put in and all of these things. That's not necessarily for everybody. Some people just want to put their money in something and get a return.
Back.
And
Yup.
so that's why I come in to educate people and say, hey, this is an avenue, this is an opportunity. If you want to do this yourself, I'm gonna teach you how to do it yourself too. However, if you don't want to do it yourself, I'm gonna teach you what I do so then you can come and join what I'm doing with your money. And then from there, you can get a return on your investment. And so what I like to say is I invest actively so you can invest passively.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I like that slogan.
So with you doing your fix and flips, what kind of timeline, what kind of profit are you expecting?
Okay. So with this specific home, I bought the home for about, I bought the home honestly for about 2000. I had a realtor go in there and do the comps on it. Right now, it is worth in this condition about 36,000. But if I fix it up, it'll be worth around 225,000. It's going to cost 80,000 to do repairs. So you figure, let's just round up to 100,000. And after, let's say I land on 170, 180,000 to sell for, so
Mm,
I should bring home, I should clear about between 50 and 60,000 on this property.
yeah, 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 definitely, definitely,
This one is
conservatively.
actually a duplex. It's a duplex, 2 units, 2 bedroom, bathroom, upstairs and downstairs. But yeah, I kind of I like to leave wiggle room.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely. So you got a duplex, you paid 2,000, really great deal. You could sell it for 225 and like renovate, like brand new renovation, rent ready, not renovating, but like just newly renovated condition. You
Mhm.
think it's, well, your plan is to, your budget is 80,000,
Right.
which is pretty conservative. How many square feet is the house?
The square footage, I think, is about 2,500 square feet.
Yeah, so 1250 for both sides, 80,000. So that's like, I'm not gonna do the math on that dollar per square foot.
Right.
But that's about 40,000 per unit. Yeah, that's fair. Um, so okay, so what's the next step for you then?
Next up, we're in the process now of trying to iron in a contractor to start doing the work.
Hmm.
Um, so we're just trying to wait for offers, and we're trying to wait to pick the right person to do the job. And
Right.
then
Okay.
once we anticipate about 2 months for the job to get done with a contract that works every single day. So let's if I'm looking at having this sold by, let's say, the end of the year. I don't want to set too many high hopes, but by the end of the year for sure.
Sure, sure, definitely. It's a good 3 or 4 months. So so now the renovations, are you doing this cash? Are you getting a loan? You got a private money lender?
Get a loan, get a loan for it.
Okay, good. Okay. Does your, does your lender, and this is kind of like a plug for me, does your lender, is he national or is he just local to Indiana?
I believe he's just local to Indiana.
Okay, because I'm always looking for more lenders
Mhm.
myself as well.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, I'll look into it. I believe he's from Indiana. It's a small company that I'll lend out, but I'll confirm that. I gotta get more details on it.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Because that's what I mean. Like that's why I'm like, maybe you refer him to me because I need a
Right.
hard money, I need a private money lender, hard money lender right now myself.
Hmm.
For a project that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So
If I know this one requires either 20 or 25% down, and I
uh
think 15% interest on it. But if you get a property and you sell it within a year, I think they'll knock off some of that interest, or you won't get hit with that much interest.
yeah, 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 for certain. My when it comes to the whole interest thing, my philosophy on it is that, if you stay in the game, the name of the game is stay in the game.
Mhm.
Because if you stay in the game, things will improve, rates will improve, processes will improve. Just don't get out of the game. So
Right,
15%, it's higher, it's on the high side, but if you're gonna make money off top of the 15%, there's no complaints.
right. Well, yeah, definitely. We definitely got to link up again because I'm still learning this. Like I said, this is my first one, so I'm still learning the ropes. And hey, anything you got for me, I'm gonna listen.
Most definitely, yeah. So we definitely can link up again. Um, I would just say like just off cuff, just you need a contract that specifies for your contractors that they get paid in increments, first, second, and third. They need to get penalized if they don't complete the project on schedule.
Hmm.
And that could be like a dollar amount a day, like $100 a day. You're gonna take off of their last portion, or some sort of penalty for not completing the project on schedule. Because you're gonna have to eat that. If
Right.
you're gonna have to pay that, eat that in interest. If you say, okay, 4 months into this year, and then it turns into February, it's like, well, dang, that's 60 days of interest payments
Hmm.
that you have to now be responsible for because your contractor didn't
Not doing what
quote
they.
you
Yep.
today and say, hey, this is actually going to take me 6 months and not 4 months. And you're like, oh, it's going to take 4 months. So then now you're budgeting, your life, your bills, all of this to be done by the end of December. And you're like, damn, like, um, this is going to take 2 extra months. Like, do you even have the reserve? So it's going to put you in a bad situation. So you want to put that into your contract that says, hey, if you don't finish this by such and such date, I'm gonna have to take it off of your money because I'm I'm giving you the chance right now to tell me how long it's gonna take and give me a real quote and not like a quote just so you can get the job and get that first portion or get that,
Right,
first two portions. And then just, oh, I'm just not gonna finish the job. It's like, no, I need to hold you to this because if you don't finish the job, now you got to go find another
right.
contractor.
And I'm in that situation right now. I paid a contractor a nice amount of money, and he basically ran off. I made a couple mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes, but I have to keep moving forward. Got to keep going. So but no, that what you just said was very valuable. The dollar amount per day, to have a date on the contract, to put pressure on them beginning with the contract. That's all good information for me.
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely been in that situation where I wrote up my own contract and didn't include that. And then um sorry about that. I just got an email. Um and didn't include that. And then it was like the project kept dragging and dragging and dragging. And I was like going insane. I'm like, when is this gonna be done? But it was because I didn't have a really tight contract for the contractors to say like they're gonna be done on this day and time.
Right.
And then and just having a list of items, the items that you're going to be using for your renovations.
Hmm.
This is definitely a great time to start picking out like the flooring finishes, bathroom finishes, all of these different finishes. And one, create a list, create a spreadsheet of, what each, where you getting the flooring from, how much it costs per square foot, where you getting toilets from, where you getting countertops from. And
Hmm.
then when you do more and more flips, you just use all the same materials for all your flips. You go to the same warehouses, and then you can also do what's called a phone sale. You could have the contractor go get the items. When they go to the store, they'll just pick them up and they call you to make the payment over the phone. So you don't have to give the contractor the money for the
Hmm.
materials. You could just pay, Home Depot or Lowe's directly over the phone. They just take the materials and go start working at the house.
Hmm.
And then the other thing too is that the materials that you do have, you do need to take an inventory of them, before the project starts and after, like, in certain milestones to
Hmm.
make sure that like your materials aren't disappearing, like they're not being stolen by the
Right.
contractor. So it's like, oh man, like I bought, you know, 3 cases of nails. There's only, you know, one case left. We haven't even done any nailing. Like, where's the rest of the nails at? Oh, buddy went and started using them for somebody else's project. It's like, no, like, because you don't want that at all. So, this, that's, definitely, hit me up about that later
Okay.
on too.
All right.
Um, so what you do, that's a great project too. It sounds very lucrative. It seems like you're gonna make, honestly, if it seems like you'd make 6 figures plus if everything goes like really well.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so now, what does your team consist of? Like, I know you said you have a realtor, but is there anybody else on your team?
Pretty much just me, my realtor. Then I have a family that I could go and ask questions to. I don't have anybody else on my team.
Okay, okay, cool, 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 cool. That's cool. So, let me think. What else? So now, what would you say? What would you say like your goals are in real estate? 1 year, 3, 5, 10 years.
I would say my goal for the next 2 years would be to buy homes from the tax sale, do work to them, flip them, go back to the tax sale. 3 to 5 mark, I want to start getting multi units, but whether that's putting deposits down or getting them from the sale and just doing work to them. And when I say multi, I'm thinking maybe 4 to 8. And then from my 5 to 8 year mark, I want to start doing megaplexes, like anything over 15 units, 20 units. Then with those, I would like to hold on to those for 3, 4 years, add value to them, sell them, get a bigger one, while all at the same time still getting houses from a tax sale, still wholesaling the bad ones, fixing up the good ones, still picking up more multi units, and then still trying to grab more multiplex megaplexes.
Nice, nice, nice. So, okay, that's good. That's a solid plan. So, if people, are you open to collaboration? That's my question.
Yes, I am open to collaboration as long as the relationship is good, and I just need to know that you're a trustworthy person.
Okay.
But I am
So,
open to collabing.
what does that for you? What does that look like?
For me, that would be me being able to see some things that you work on. That would be just every. That's kind of hard to explain because everybody is different.
Mm.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I would definitely need to see what the person has been working on, what they've sold, what they're currently working on, and I have to go out a couple times, maybe go grab food and just talk it up a couple times, build that relationship, and just see where it goes from there. Because any relationship, any time you get into business with somebody is going to be a risk. So I probably would start small and then grow bigger and just take my time with it, take the time with it, and just let things grow on their own, not force it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Um, so what does so today, like what does your portfolio consist of?
I don't have in my portfolio. I have two properties right now. Both of those properties are going to be repaired, renovated, and flipped.
Okay. Okay, cool.
But come
And
next couple weeks, I should have 5 to 7 more. Coming the next year, I should have 7 to 15 more.
nice,
So yeah,
nice, 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 nice. And so people want to know, I want to know what projects have you done up to now?
well, these are really my first two projects. My first project that I spoke with you about. Other than that, it's being wholesaling,
Okay,
getting
yeah.
the tax sale, getting them in my name, and then just wholesaling them quick for 15 to 20 thousand.
Okay. So why would, if somebody, they came to you
Mhm.
and they're like, hey, why do I want to do tax liens? What would you tell them?
I would tell them the same house you're seeing on the market for 50,000, you could get for about 5. So you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
save $45,000 getting it off of a sale. You may have to wait a little while, but for that $50,000 that you just paid, you could grab 10. Imagine what you could do with 10 properties instead of just one. Then I
Yeah,
would probably sit down, do some math with them, show them the numbers, show them all my receipts, the stuff that I've done, and how I made it make sense. And then just hey, if they want to do it, I would try to bring them on.
nice, nice. That's cool. So we met because you helped me change my tire because I had like some bolt issue.
Yeah,
Um, so now do you live in Indiana or do you live in Atlanta?
I live in Atlanta.
Okay. So you're like you're managing these projects while living here.
Yes,
Is that right?
yes.
Okay. What's been your experience managing remotely?
I would say the experience is the only thing that you really have to do is stay on the contractor, stay on the people. I take off 2 weeks of work every luckily I still
Mhm.
hello.
Hey, yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I think I had lost my connection. But really, with me, it hasn't been too hard because I go back and forth to and from here a lot, and I also have family in town that also knows what needs to be done. That'll go by and check on things for me. So for me, it's pretty smooth. You just know that you're gonna have to move around a lot. You're gonna have to be able to just catch a flight or get on the road and just go take care of your business for a weekend and then come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it had cut out there for a moment. You were saying something about you take 2 weeks off of work and then
Yeah,
it cut out.
I take about 2 weeks off of work to go and look at these tax lien houses because it takes. I look at usually it's 125 houses a day. I'll look at because there's so many properties on this list, and really that's the longest period of time that I'm in that area is for this 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's smooth, man. So I guess do you have any questions for me?
No, not right now. You gave me a lot of insight, and I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the things here is that you're at the very beginning of this,
Yeah.
of me doing these podcasts, and with these podcasts, real estate is a career on its own.
Hmm.
And so, as part of a career, you're going to have to, collaborate with other people, work on projects. Hey, do you want to be a part of this group or this, you know, these guys, like I know people who are building a city right now, right?
Oh wow.
Do you want to be a part of them and get involved with them? Well, you got to know about them and you got to know if you like them or don't like them or their values are the same. So with this being the beginning of these podcasts that I'm doing, well, the aim is that, you being a part of this, you'll be able to find other people in this network that I'm creating and say, oh yeah, I know Demetrius, we interviewed. Let's link up, or Demetrius will tell me about you, or you could ask about me through Demetrius. And that's my reference. You can use me as a reference
Okay.
for people working with you or people who are like, hey, Emmanuel, like, I don't really know you. He's like, well, I check out my interview. Like, I'm telling you, this the real uncut
Hmm.
version, so you can see transparently. And in that way, there's also a network of investors across the country. One of my main things is to invest everywhere in America. I used to just only do Atlanta. But then I started realizing that one, the real estate is the same everywhere. Like the laws are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The way they do appraisals is the same. Everything's pretty much the same. It's just like if I haven't been there, it's kind of like what you're doing. It's like you're remote, but you can hop on a phone call with the contractor and be like, hey, FaceTime me, show me the work you're doing, like do a video walkthrough. Like you said, you put in the countertops, show me a video, do a walkthrough. Oh, let me see where you put the plumbing in. Like I can, we can have access to be on the ground, have eyes on the ground without actually having to be there with smartphones, so camera phones. So um and the other thing too is that, I'm creating this so that, we can all work together on different projects and just different avenues like I have a email list. So what I'll do is, after we finish here, I'm gonna chop up this video and send some of these clips to
Okay.
my email list. So that way they can say, oh, okay, Demetrius just emailed Emmanuel. Like, I'm up in Indiana. Like, let me go hit up Emmanuel
Hmm.
so we can get some insight, get some projects going. I got some money that I'm trying to invest in the Indiana's Gary. Now I know somebody in Gary. Boom, let me go reach out to him. And so that way they, can get the value that you bring and get a chance to get exposed to your program and your university. And then just, for me to be able to put you on a platform and just so you can share, what you've got going on.
Yeah.
So with the upcoming seminar, that's going to be on October 1st. It's going to be here in Atlanta in East Point. You're definitely welcome to come for free.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'll be there.
yeah. And so what I'm going to be talking about is mindset, mental and spiritual techniques, how to overcome fear, how to, different success principles and pillars, how to set goals, how to set a vision, create a desire scroll. And then, of course, that's like the get your mind ready, get your
Mhm.
mind right for investing in the real estate. And then, excuse me, the last portion is going to be the real estate part where it's like raising capital, like how to raise capital, how to do seller financing, how to analyze apartment complex deals. And then from there, I'll present an opportunity. And then if people want coaching, I'll present that as well. And so the reason I broke it up like that is because a lot of times in real estate, we're working with big numbers and big amounts of money.
Mhm.
And that intimidates a lot of people from thinking like, oh man, like I gotta have 10 million to buy an apartment complex. I gotta come up with 5 million, or even I gotta come up with 50,000. Like that's a lot of money for most people who've never had that amount of money before.
Right.
And so they'll believe that they can't do it. So that's why the first portion I just focused on mindset. Like you can do it. They're just numbers, and you can, own these properties. Um, and so that's going to be on October 1st. I'll have my books there as well for people who want to buy, because I'm big on educating as well. I like to write books on a regular basis so people can see, like, the lingo. They can learn the lingo. Like I wrote a real estate dictionary. It's called Wilson's Real Estate Dictionary. You can get it on Amazon so people can know, like, what is a tax lien? Like we're talking foreign language now.
Right.
And so people can say like, okay, this is a tax lien, this is what it means, or this is how you analyze a deal, this is a deal calculator, or just different create I've created different
Okay.
tools for people to have so that way they can look at the deals. Um, so what I'm currently working on is my major goal is to own a 100 unit apartment complex before um no I have two timelines on it. The
Okay.
one is to own the apartment complex before May 7th, 2025.
Mm.
My other timeline is to own the apartment complex before I turn 30, which is going to be in 2026.
Oh, we the
So like
same
no,
age.
yeah, I'm 27 right now too.
Yep, I'm 28.
So I turn 28 in November, at the end of November. So the other goal is to have that apartment complex before I turn 30. And the way my plan to do it is to work with investors, raise capital, and do seller financing. Very similar to what you're saying, which is to buy a property, get seller financing, renovate it, and then refinance it and sell it. Um, and just raise the money for, the down payment, which could be like 1 to 2 million
Hmm.
from investors. So currently I have about 1.1 million raised
Hmm.
in commitments from investors, and I'm looking to grow that to 10 million in the next 12 months. And then from that 10 million, half of that, at least, most, because some people are going to be like, oh, I don't like this deal, I don't want to do it, or whatever. Situations change. Half of those people, they're going to flake. which is still 5 million, but I really only need two to do a deal, to do one of these apartment complex deals. Cause I was just looking at a 96 unit apartment complex and I put an offer in on it. And, I was speaking with the realtor and they're like, hey, this is a good offer. You actually offered more than the asking price. And so the reason I offered more than the asking price was because I needed to put in a repair budget. So that way, when we close on the property, we buy it, financing, all that's in place, the money will be there at the closing table for me to go ahead and renovate the units. So like
Mm,
this property, it was like 5.7 million. I gave them an offer of 6.7 because I wanted to get back at closing $1 million to do, it's like 35 units need renovations.
mhm,
So I needed a million to do the renovations on all those 35 units. And so the bank, with these big properties, the bank looks at it like it's a business. It'll finance itself. It'll it's not necessarily my financials that are going on this. It's called a DSCR, debt service coverage ratio.
mhm.
The property brings in enough rent to pay the mortgage plus some. So usually what they look at is like a 1.2 or a 1.5. Basically, that's like if the mortgage is 100,000, the property brings in 120,000 every month. So it'll pay for itself regardless, even if you haven't done any renovations. And then that's where I come in and I, do the renovations, raise the rents to market rent. And now it's like it was making 120, now it's making 150. It's an even better deal. And then
Right.
from there, I'll refinance it and in return my investors their capital and go from there.
Mhm.
And so that's the main push. And the way we're going about doing that is just doing a seminar once a month, doing a
Mhm.
newsletter, putting out educational content like these interviews, and then just teaching, writing books, and doing that. So, my little bit about my history, my track record. I got into real estate 8 years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago. Got my license. Last year I got my brokerage license. So I'm a licensed broker. And I started investing when I was about 20. So I bought a quadruplex, renovated it, and then I bought another quadruplex, renovated it. First one, I paid about 100 grand for it, put 100 grand into it, and then sold it for 230.
Mhm.
The one I just recently sold, I paid 86 grand for it, put about 120 into it, and then just sold it recently for 500,000. So now I'm looking to just capitalize on that. I'm ready to go to the bigger deals because of my education, right? These are definitely some people to look up to. Eric Lindahl,
Mhm.
he's got a good course on how to buy apartment complexes. Um, or it's either Eric or David Lindahl or Eric Lindahl, they're brothers.
Mhm.
Um, this great book called Zero to 100.
Mhm.
And this book is about how you go from owning no units to owning 100 units in as little as 3 years. Um, and then another course I went and took is called what's his name? Tyler Devereaux, Multifamily Mindset. And he just talks about how these guys are buying like 250 units, 500 units, where are they getting the money from? And actually they say that they'll sponsor the deal for you. So if you
Mhm.
have a deal you bring to them, they'll sponsor it. They'll be your money partner.
Oh wow.
So definitely some people you should look into. But that's where I'm at. And then also with this podcast and just in general, just looking to take this podcast to a million subscribers. Take the YouTube channel to 1 million subscribers because you got 1 million people, you can raise a whole lot of money.
Yeah, very true. I know that's what Grant Cardone does. He has a university of people, and hey, he make it work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought him up. I like Grant for that specific reason because he's got that Cardone University and he teaches people how to sell and he does his seminars. And so I've kind of found that like that's, you know, what I've morphed into, you know what I'm saying? Like evolved into doing pretty much their same business model
Hmm.
and just speaking on stages and teaching people how to do real estate. Um, but right now though, right now what I'm really working on, I also have two properties.
Okay.
So I have a house that I need a lender. I need a lender to help me refinance it. Um, so I'm gonna just tell you like the challenges, right? Because we don't ever, you don't ever hear about the challenges.
Right. Yeah.
So when I sold my quadruplex, I was planning on moving to Mississippi and buying like, 10 houses out there
Hmm.
and just renovating them and renting them out. I now I'm making like 10 grand a month, blase, blase. But I had some mentors come into my life who they were like, oh, so I was like, they were like, we're gonna mentor you. So I ended up deciding to stay here in Atlanta.
Hmm.
Those mentors ended up falling off. They just stopped returning my phone calls, that kind of thing. Um, so I was going forward with renovating this property, and I called a hard money lender up. He's like, "Oh yeah, well, this is your primary residence now, so we can't give you a loan on the property because it's your primary residence." And so I was like, "Really? I've never heard of that before."
Right.
So that that killed my momentum. That killed the plan to refinance it, or at least it put a slowed it down.
Hmm.
So now where I'm at is I'm looking for more lenders who can refinance the property. And then from there, I'm gonna go to Mississippi and I'm gonna finish my other house that I bought. I bought another house in Mississippi last year, paid about 7 grand for it.
Not
It'll be
bad.
worth, yeah, it'll be worth about 30 when everything's all said and done. The budget for that's like 15 grand. And I'm gonna do a lot of the work myself because I wanna, renovate my own house and that kind of thing. And then so that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm in the process of doing a refinance so I can go finish this project out in Mississippi, and then from there, refinance that and rinse and
Keep it
repeat.
going. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yep. Yep. So, let's see what other questions. Any advice you would give anybody getting started in real estate?
I would say start small. Don't do too much. Always keep a little bit of money in your account and set a limit for yourself. Watch your business grow. Don't go all in if you don't know what you're gonna if you don't know for sure what you're gonna do yet.
Nice.
That'll be my advice.
Okay. Trying to think what else. What else do you think we should talk about?
I mean, hey, we hit a lot of topics today. We might have to do a second podcast and go a little bit deeper into what we do.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Might-
good.
We might have to do a second one because it seems like you got a lot of knowledge. I got a decent amount of knowledge, and I think we're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, for certain, for certain.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I would say to you too, like, you do your own interviews with, people who you want to potentially work with. Like it's like a job, you're gonna have to interview people.
Right.
So, start your own podcast or, your own, I don't know, radio show or however whatever you want to call it. But all right, man. This has been good. This has definitely been good.
This was a nice one. This is my first time going on the podcast, so
Awesome. I'm glad it was a good experience for you. So, let me just pause this. So Pause recording.